Traditional rulers from the northwest and southwest regions urge separatist fighters to give peace a chance, promising them clemency should they drop their arms and reintegrate the mainstream society. Cameroon brands Angel Bay Tundizoa as her pick for the position of Director General of ASECNA, convoying friendly countries to back and propel him at the helm of the Continental Aviation Safety Agency. The coup plotters in Mali pledged democracy after compelling President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta to resign, saying new elections will be held to replace the deposed president. Those are our top stories. Hello and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Ben Menopufong.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Hello once again and thanks for joining us. We are awfully sorry for the late start of this edition. Traditional rulers from the northwest and southwest regions have pledged to forgive separatist fighters and those who have killed and desecrated the land should they lay down their arms and integrate the mainstream society. The appeasement measure was announced in Yaoundé today during a meeting between the traditional rulers and the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. The Yaoundé Come Together was convened to reflect on ways of bringing peace in the two regions and having the funds returned to their respective palaces. Kilianda Ndifon reports.
The Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji meets the traditional rulers from the northwest and southwest on high instructions whose ultimate objective is seeking peace.
How do we accompany our funds back to their fondoms, their villages? This is a major concern expressed by His Excellency President Paul Biya and His Excellency Prime Minister.
The traditional rulers from the two security-troubled regions are ready for compromising concessions for the sake of peace.
The funds must forgive those who yesterday harassed them. They must forgive those who desecrated their palaces. And in some cases, some sort of purification has to be done.
Through the meeting, I got to understand that government don't want to act like a robust machinery that decides on its own, but wanted to find out from us what it can do to enable us back to our palaces.
The meeting that and parliamentarians from the two regions.
And a local Cameroonian non-governmental organization known as the Indomitable Patriots today staged a peaceful march to the American Embassy in Yaoundé, pressing for the U.S. government to arrest and repatriate U.S.-based Cameroonians who are sponsoring terrorism back home. The peaceful demonstration started off at the main entrance to the Yaoundé Conference Center and culminated at the foregrounds of the American Embassy in the Gulf neighborhood, with the demonstrators brandishing placards bearing patriotic and anti-terrorist messages and slogans. Ebenezer Akanga reports on the motivation of the patriotic gesture.
The peaceful march began at the entrance of the Yaoundé Conference Center with the singing of the national anthem of Cameroon. From there, the participants marched for a distance of more than 1 kilometer to the Embassy of the United States of America in Yaoundé. The march was guided by security forces. The participants in the peaceful march carried placards, some of which read, "No more kidnapping, maiming and killing by Cameroonian-born terrorists residing abroad. Stop the bloodbath in Cameroon. Stop those funding terrorism in Cameroon from your country. And as a friendly country, send back those killing our sons and daughters from your country." While in front of the embassy, the organizers passed across their message.
It's more than enough. The killings by people who are comfortable abroad. They are ordering Cameroonians to be killed here, to be beheaded. They stop our children from going to school. They do all the things that we could not imagine.
Though no embassy official came out to meet them, they went back convinced that their message has gone through.
The Minister of Trade and the Council Support Fund for Mutual Assistance, FECAM, have struck a partnership agreement to push on with the ongoing decentralization process through the promotion of commercial activities in various council areas across the country. By virtue of the agreement, major production basins across Cameroon will be rendered more accessible to buyers so as to ease the commercialization of produce. Clarissa Ray Takang reports on the significance of the twinning event.
Making buying and selling in council area markets competitive, yet appealing for both vendors and buyers. An ambition officials confess is achievable, but in need of various forms of resources. This is the basis of the agreement entered into by the Ministry of Trade and the Council Support Fund for Mutual Assistance. The idea is to fast-track decentralization through the promotion of commercial activities in different localities nationwide. The point of interest is to put in place a network which will encourage local production.
To be able to organize, to share our expertise in organization of local trade exhibition. The other hand is also to allow us, to implement the market construction, market equipment management project.
The assistance to be granted municipal authorities is expected to enable them better manage the markets they will be called upon to oversee.
The Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Entrepreneurship is communing with council authorities in the Central Region to press for policies that will enable the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Cameroon thrive. During the debates today at the premises of the Yaoundé 1 Council, the network's president, Honorable Roger Melingi, underscored the need for concerted action to promote the training and financing of small-scale business ventures in the country. Esther Kima reports.
Working for the empowerment of young people through entrepreneurship is the commitment taken by members of the Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Entrepreneurship, liaison with municipal authorities.
The mayor and the member of parliament may or have to work together so that they give more opportunities for entrepreneurship really to grow.
The mayor of Yaoundé 1, Jean-Marie Abouna, admits the challenge is huge as a deficit in training and insufficient financing of small-scale ventures are decried. Poor communication of the programs designed by governments to enable the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country thrive is also to blame.
Together, we can find solution for the problem of employment and financial resources.
With experiences from the councils of Yaoundé 1 and 7, Obala, Ezeka, Ngomjap, and Misondo Sheret, the participants agreed that fast-tracking the decentralization process will check youth unemployment and guarantee the survival of local enterprises.
The government of Cameroon is envisioning to adopt measures including tax relief that will go a long way in boosting the country's pharmaceutical industry. The information was made public in Yaoundé today by the Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Gabriel Ndodondoke, as he went visiting some pharmaceutical industries implanted in the nation's capital. We have details with Ewane Epole.
The most significant constraints hampering the development of the pharmaceutical industry in Cameroon are the high cost of production and fraudulent drug imports.
Our different tax, fiscal, and even for health sector regulation are not adapted to improve and to develop our country.
It is in this light that the Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Gabriel Dodo Ndoke, is visiting pharmaceutical industries to take stock of their situation.
They need to be accompanied by the government, and the President of the Republic sent us to come and see. They need to be helped.
On his first stopover at the Mvan Pharmaceutical Production Center, the minister reiterated government's commitment to reduce tax paid by the structures in order to boost the production of pharmaceutical industries in the country.
Angel Bay Tundizoa is the candidate that Cameroon is branding for the position of Director General of the Agency for Air Safety Navigation in Africa and Madagascar, ASECNA. The civil aviation experts who spent the day of today at the cabinet of the Ministry of External Relations, he accompanied the minister as he held talks with some heads of diplomatic missions in Cameroon. Charles Ebune now reports on the credentials of the Cameroonian candidacy as was presented to the diplomats.
All the heavyweights of the country's aviation domain are here at the conference hall of the Ministry of External Relations. Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Massé-Nangale Bibere, accompanied by the Director General of the Cameroon Civil Aviation Authority, Koki Paul Asumu, to meet with the country's diplomatic establishment to defend this man, Etundi Anglebezoa, as candidature for the post of Director General of the Agency for Air Safety Navigation in Africa and Madagascar. 2 audiences are granted to the ambassadors of Congo and Equatorial Guinea, all member states of the above 60-years-old organization. Today's meetings with member states to support Cameroon, whose candidates totals plus 30 years of experience in the aviation sector, is one in a series.
The ferry over the River Nyong in the locality of Malamba in Makak subdivision of the Central region that got sunk and got destroyed in 2016 has been repaired and will soon go operational. The vessel, it was slotted into the river today so that the repair works could be completed so the vessel can begin work or traffic again before 1 month elapses. Our reporter Joyce Kimbi Fowaju says the vessel is expected to go operational in less than a month's time.
4 years of nightmare crossing over River Nyong by boat after the ferry sank in 2016.
Our canton has 9 villages. 9 villages have many peoples who want to go in town, who want to make the business.
But hopes are rekindled as the 20-ton capacity ferry is retrieved, repaired and has been slotted back into the waters. The ferry maintaining company, under the supervision of the Ministry of Public Works, announces its functionality soon.
From instructions given by the Minister of Public Works, the project owner, in a month's time, it will be done. And the difficulties for this long delay had been because when the enterprise, were awarded the contract, before we reached this present site, water had displaced the ferry about 15 kilometers. So we took so much time to bring back the ferry.
A great relief to the locals.
You are very, very satisfied. It's already in the water.
Understandably, as the population prepares their divorce with the boat to embrace the comfort of the Malombo ferry.
Chapter 3 of our running series on the illegal forest exploitation in the Sanaga Maritime Division focuses tonight on measures taken by the administrative and municipal authorities to curb the practice. Regional officials of forestry and wildlife for the littoral say several cubic meters of wood have already been impounded, while presumed culprits are answering charges at the level of judicial institutions of the country. Alphonse Abongwa Achu reports on these remedial measures.
Intensity of the illegality is so alarming to keep authorities indifferent. This justifies the outing of the municipal executive of Ngambet at Putkak to halt these 2 trucks from exiting the village.
It is close to 2 weeks now that we impounded the trucks. We have not yet identified the owners and we don't know where the logs of wood are heading.
Similarly, the Local Development Association of the area has dispatched a collective of barristers headed by Christian Miquet to see in what ways a litigation can be launched against presumed culprits. The Littoral Regional Delegate for Forestry says his team is abreast with the fire.
On the 12th of August, my brigade went to the field and seized wood. We are still exploitation of document. He has to pay at between 200,000 and 1 million.
Since 2019, some 5,000 cubic meters of illegally exploited woods in the Sanaga Maritime and Camp divisions have been impounded by the regional delegation of Minfof.
The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications and civil society actors in Cameroon are consulting in Yaoundé on how to promote cybersecurity and raise awareness on the responsible use of social media platforms. The exchange is taking place at a forum on cybersecurity that was opened by the Minister of Communication, René Emmanuel Sadi, in lieu and place of his counterpart of Post and Telecommunications. Yoti Kaleli Songe reports on the stakes of the forum.
Like minds assembled to strategize on how to fight cyber criminality and promote the responsible use of social media in Cameroon.
The misuse of social media is a real concern in our country today. This was an invention which was praised by the whole world because it permitted that citizens of all the world could be in contact instantly.
Making the world a global village whose stability is today threatened by the same technology.
People insult other peoples, blackmail, promote the species of hatred and tribalism.
In Cameroon, 7.8 million of the estimated 26 million population are internet users. This civil society forum on cybersecurity is therefore crucial, given the status quo. Efforts to highlight the theme of the national campaign, Let's All Mobilize for Cybersecurity in Cameroon.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
It's a little over 7:50 p.m. and it's time for us to hook up with Baldwin Sama, who is standing by at the Public Health Emergencies Operations Center with one of his guests to talk about the management of pregnant women tested positive of COVID-19. Hello, Baldwin Sama. You say COVID-19 positive women can be subject to home management without the risk of infecting others. Is that clear, Baldwin?
Good evening to you, Ben Menopufong, and welcome. It is a delicate situation to manage pregnant women who are symptomatic as far as COVID-19 is concerned, manage them at home. Equally, it becomes quite complicated to manage pregnant women, those who have been tested positive for COVID-19 when they are at home. That is what we shall be discussing with our guests this evening, given that in Cameroon so far, 72 pregnant women have been tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately enough, none of them has died of COVID-19. Our guest tonight is Dr. Philemon Semawe. He is a gynecologist. Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
Tell us, how possible is it to manage pregnant women who are symptomatic as far as COVID-19 is concerned at home?
Now, pregnant women that are symptomatic women in this category, manage comfortably at home with the national protocol stipulated by the state. And this protocol stipulates the use of hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, zinc, and low-dose aspirin. These pregnant women could equally be boosted. Their immune system could be boosted by the use of multivitamins. And they need to space out their visits. Their antenatal consultations will be spaced out. Same still, these pregnant women, once they present with mild symptoms like fever, it could be treated with antipyretics. If they present symptoms with cough, they can be treated with expectorants. They need to inform their health provider if in case the symptoms exacerbate, and at the same time inform the health provider if in case the symptoms becomes so severe, so that they can prepare a conducive environment in the health facility to receive them.
And finally, Doc, do same conditions apply for those pregnant women tested positive this time around for COVID-19?
Those who present with symptoms of the COVID-19 are integrated into the recognized centers presented by the state.
and they are equally placed on the national protocol, as earlier mentioned. And once they recover, they're equally managed as asymptomatic pregnant women, as mentioned above. Thank you so much, Dr. Philemon Semare, for being our guest this evening. You are a gynecologist and public health experts. Call on all pregnant women in Cameroon. If you notice any signs or symptoms as far as COVID-19 is concerned, make sure that you have yourself screened for COVID-19, because even when you are infected, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will die, because out of the 72 pregnant women in Cameroon who have been tested positive for COVID-19, the good news is that none of them has died. They are being taken care of by officials of the Ministry of Public Health. Back to you, Ben Menopofo.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama, for those updates from the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. And you're watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaoundé. Dr. Nwana Sama Bernard is the new board chair of the Upper Noon Valley Development Authority, UNVDA, in Dub. He was elected and installed today at the end of an extraordinary board meeting of the rice cultivation outfit in Bamenda that was holding under the auspices of the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Mbairobe. As Eric Lamia-Ufo reports from Bamenda, the new board chair's prime task, as assigned him by the minister, will consist in optimizing rice production to meet the 10% target of the government.
He has been appointed at a time when the Upper Noon Valley Development Authority, the UNVDA, is grappling with the socio-political crisis. Production has dropped from 18,000 tons since the start of the crisis in 2016 to 11,000 tons of rice in 2020. He has the task of optimizing government's resolve of boosting rice production by 10%.
We're going to invite all the rice farmers to try to intensify their production. And at the same time, we're also thinking of extending the rice production by cultivating upland rice.
Dr. Nwana Sama Bernard, a holder of a PhD in mining engineering, has served the state in various capacities. Amongst them, one-time permanent secretary of the Chamber of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock and Forest, and former director of the Local Materials Promotion Authority, Mipomalo. He takes over from Tikela Kemoin Dudu, who passed away earlier this year.
As the fight to mitigate the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in Cameroon intensifies, managers of children's leisure sports in the capital city are not only using their facilities as amusement ground for the kids, but also as a venue for the propagation of the anti-COVID preventive measures currently in force in the country. As the number of children at these venues keeps swelling during this period of the long vacation, so too are the managers intensifying the barrier measures to rid their premises of any COVID-19 danger. Victor Segar now reports on how holiday makers are distracting themselves at amusement centers while remaining within the ambit of the barrier measures.
A timid environment at the Omnisport Children's Playground. Business is still influenced by the COVID-19 pandemic. Management says it is as a result of the restrictions taken for customers flouting the COVID-19 barrier measures.
Nobody comes in without a face mask and also without washing their hands. That's why the place is empty, because we send away those who do not comply with the measures imposed.
Here at Frankie's Art and Creation, everybody goes through the mandatory check at the entrance.
Here we make sure they are checked, we disinfect their hands and try to make them respect the social distancing. We then take time to educate them first on this measure before any other thing.
They are not only drilled on the fabrication of art objects, but also on the COVID preventive measures.
I learned everything. The barrier measures, like washing my hands, put my mask.
The different initiatives are aimed at keeping these areas which could serve as a breeding ground for the virus COVID-19 free.
There is a waterfall in the West region that many tourists are scrambling to behold. This is the Meche waterfall, a picturesque and extremely exquisite wonder of nature. This mythical waterfall that drops from a height of about 40 meters is both a tourist destination and a sacred place for the local people, as you saying, Go Henry, as we continue our series on the discovery of Cameroon's tourist endowments.
It is one of the touristic destinations the West region can boast of. The Meche waterfall is situated in Bamungum in the Bafoussam 3 subdivision along the Bafoussam-Bamenda highway. Water falls from a height of 40 meters. It is not only a touristic destination, but a shrine for the people here.
The Meche waterfall occupies a very big place in our culture and tradition. It is not only a touristic site, but a sacred place. Here, you'll find tourists from all over the country and beyond. People equally come for cleansing.
He says the Meche waterfall dates back to the 1960s.
During the independence war in the 60s, many people were thrown in this waterfall and most of them perished.
Whenever you come visiting the West region, do not hesitate to make a trip to the Meche waterfall.
Behind me, situated along the Bafoussam-Buda road, is just one of the touristic sites the West region can boast of. Ngu Henry for the news in Meche.
And that's where we'll leave it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.